Hey guys, it's McNeil from Louison Automotive, and today we're going to be talking about who is Tesla's real competitor. Does Tesla have a true competitor? And how much money would it take to really compete with Tesla and where they're at today? In order to invest in the infrastructure you need to compete with Tesla, I would say you probably need to spend about $20 billion back into the industry. You'd need to invest that money because even if those other car makers are actually car makers and they have factories already, they don't have the right talent necessarily per se to deal with the self-driving technology, to deal with the battery technology, so they'd have to hire the right talent to deal with that and to invest a little more into that. A lot of these cars will be sold at smaller margins and maybe even some at losses in order for them to scale it up. So why would a car company that's already making money on ICE cars invest in a car that's going to make them lose money? It's very hard for a car company to do that, or a CEO to make that decision when, if, for example, who are the guys that possibly trying to invest in the EV game right now? So you got Volkswagen, you have GM, I would say, that is actually trying to make an effort to do it, and possibly Ford, okay? So let's deal with these three guys here. Ford has a market cap today at about $33 billion. So for Ford to invest $20 billion in the industry, boom, money's gone. To invest in the right talent and invest in everything that they need to keep up with Tesla, that is basically obviously devaluing the company. So if you go to investors meeting and you hear that Ford's going to invest $20 billion in the EV game right now, and the only reason you're holding a Ford stock is because it pays you about 7% dividend, and the company potentially going to make losses because they invested in the future, you're going to be losing investors because now at this point they worried about me losing the dividends payment, right? So that may not necessarily be a good idea for them. Then you have GM. GM's worth probably about $52 billion again. So for them to spend $20 billion is possible, but then they follow the same point of losing their dividend. VW has a good chance as well. VW is a $55 billion market cap company, pays about 3% in dividends. And they are actually investing in the EV game. Now, all of them can possibly, so I'm not saying that any of these manufacturers cannot make EV cars. It's not what we're saying. They clearly are working on it. Ford's working on a pickup truck. Basically, GM has a few things in the pipeline. Volkswagen, which owns Porsche, has the Porsche Taycan. Also have some Volkswagen cars that will be coming out as EV. So we're not saying that they're not investing in it, but at the pace that they need to invest to remain profitable is such a slow pace that Tesla will always have the lead. Tesla will always have the lead in the industry because they've already invested in the charging infrastructure, in the battery technology, in the self-driving technology, in so many different segments of the business that those manufacturers were taken for granted and didn't think was important enough to invest in. It's a little bit too late in my opinion. So if the only way they can catch up is to make the decision and inject over $20 billion in their business all over again, with the chances of losing investors, because again, you might be losing a lot of money for the long-term game, and that will not be a good, easy sell for investors, okay? So they cannot afford to invest that amount of money to catch up right away. So the safest bet for them is to invest in EVs slowly, rolling out one model at a time, and trying to phase out the ICE vehicles. Now, the ICE vehicles are still making more money for them, so for you to tell a company to invest in a losing part of their business and lose some of their profitable business, it just doesn't make business sense for them. It's kind of hard for somebody to change their old ways. So with that said, I'm thinking a company that is not an automotive company will be the easiest company to be a real competition for Tesla. Before we get into that company or these potential companies, the most valuable car company out there would be Toyota, I would say, because Toyota has about $193 billion market cap. Okay, so Toyota have the finances that if they want to inject $20 billion in the industry to catch up with Tesla, and given that it's a strong Toyota brand, they will be able to be a competition for Tesla. However, Toyota doesn't have any EVs on the market right now, and no major announcements of any that's coming down the pipeline. And Toyota is not one that's known to be taking those type of risks. I think Toyota was one of the last companies with Apple Play in the car. Toyota likes to play it safe, see what the industry is doing, and let the other companies do the pros and cons and fail and succeed. And when they clearly see the winning path, then they would invest the money and go that way. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But that's their business strategy. That's how they generally invest their money. So when it's a proven thing, and then that's how it's going to work, and clearly they realize that they have to be EV or there'll be nothing, at some point Toyota will have to invest in full EVs, and they're just going to have to do it. It'll not be a joke. They're going to have to legit invest in it. Now, the real threat, and I take that back, it shouldn't be a threat, okay? There's enough room in the industry for multiple EV cars. There's so many ICE car makers, manufacturers right now making so many different type of ICE cars. So why every time a new car company makes a EV car, we have to say it's a Tesla killer? It's not, and it will not be. Tesla have a major lead. Now, the only companies that have the opportunity or the real money to invest that could actually catch up with Tesla really quick will be companies that's close to $1 trillion market caps, okay? So, for example, Apple. Apple is a little bit over $1 trillion market cap right now. It means they have money to burn. They have money that they could afford to lose. That's still not going to make them lose at the end of the year totally, if you get what I'm saying. So they could afford to lose a little bit. Well, we wouldn't call it losses. They'll be able to invest $20 billion in infrastructure, hiring the right people in order to create quick competition for Tesla without hurting the rest of their business, because they have that cash and they have that capability. They have that financial backing in order to do that. So you would find that a lot of tech companies will be able to catch up with Tesla and be a real competition for Tesla faster than an actual car company can, okay? So if tech companies and car companies are partnering together to catch up with Tesla, that's when you'll see a true Tesla competition, if you may, okay? Amazon could, because Amazon's almost $900 billion market cap. Those companies have the finances to try to be a true competition for Tesla if they want to invest in that game, or if they want to partner with a car company to get into that space. With that said, the whole point here is no matter which car company that comes out with one or two models of cars and saying that they're gonna be making EV cars again, all of a sudden all of these analysts online devaluing the Tesla stock because they're thinking that competition is coming. I don't see it that way. I see that all the major car companies have a long way to go before they can be a true competition for Tesla. I don't see them going out and investing in the amount of superchargers that Tesla have in order to be a true competition. Even if Toyota were to make a really amazing electric car, and for the same price or similar price, if I can get a Tesla that is actually self-driving and has that amazing charging network, by them investing in EV, it just validates what Tesla does, and Tesla will continue to take the lead even further, okay? So there is no real true Tesla competition as yet, and they probably will not be in the next few years. So for me, Tesla is still the safest bet. If you want to buy an electric car, it will always be, so far anyway, Tesla being the best option for you. There's just another angle to look at it. If I were to choose a company that really cares about the environment or actually cares about the future of our planet, I would definitely choose Tesla. Because why? From the beginning, started this company preaching that they wanted to change the way we use energy, and wanted to basically preach sustainable energy with the solar panels and the electric cars and all of that stuff. Okay, the car manufacturers always look at them as a joke, keep polluting the environment, and only when they're realizing that consumers are catching on, they're starting to invest in those technologies, not because they care about saving the environment, but because now they're worried about, if I'm going to lose a customer to Tesla, I might as well try to make something that, you know, could compete with Tesla. Okay, so in the end of the day, these car companies are just following just the money and care nothing about the environment. So they're gonna make a half-assed product just to you know, say that they have an EV car to sell. Okay, so with that said, we're going to end the video by saying clearly there's no clear competition for Tesla that we can find. We're going to keep looking at the numbers and see who's closer and who could actually be a true competition. At this point, we just can't see who's actually competition for Tesla.